everyone. So this podcast is brought to you by Sci-Space Computer Solutions. This is available only in the locality of Mankayan, municipality of Mankayan. So if you have some problems with your computers, with your desktop computers, laptops, and the likes, and you want someone who is trusted who can fix it, say for example virus cleaning, data retrieval for storage, things like that, you can always call Sci-Space Computer Solutions. You can also visit their Facebook page, Sci-Space Tech, that is CYSPACE space TECH, Sci-Space Tech. That's the Facebook page. So in this podcast, this is a solo podcast where I talk about the thing that's happening right now with regards to that famous Community Pantry. So I took it while driving. I hope you like it.
Hello, everybody. So, for those who are just listening, you might be listening to this background noises around. I'm on the road right now going to my work. It would be a 40-minute drive, and I'm on a very bumpy road. It's a rough road. One-lane road going to this remote place in our municipality. Now, I decided to do this podcast because of the things happening right now, and just want to share my thoughts on it. And I decided to do this in English since, and I'm starting to think also that every solo podcast that I'd be doing will either be in Tagalog or in English, and those that will be in my local language will be when I'd be having a guest who prefers to speak in our local dialect, and that is Kankanai, by the way. So, I just want to talk about the one of the important trait or values of the Filipino people. And if you've been to the Philippines, if you're not a Filipino, and I think you might have seen this one. The most common illustration of this is when you see people, group of men, carrying a very small house. That was the common house of the Filipinos long time ago, and that house is made up of grass, quite light, made up of bamboo. Of course, bamboos are light, but they're strong. And then they're not the foundation is not dug into the ground. It is just placed on top of the stone. So if the location of that house is compromised, say for example there's a flood, they can just, or it is prone to flooding, group of men will be called in the community, or all of the men in the community are being called to help carry that house and transfer it into a better location. So that is the illustration often used by other people. Let me just remove my ID here because it's obstructing the view. Well, anyway, so that's the illustration of that values of Filipino people helping each other. And after that one, of course, you, the owner of the house, would be giving a free meal, something like that, a free meal, or you will be cooking lunch for them. Example, you'll be providing meal, just to cut it short. Now, you won't be paying them for their service because that is just normal. It's like when somebody in your community needs help, the people who can help in that community will help you without expecting any return, without expecting any monetary monetary payment for that service that they rendered to you when you needed that help. And we call that one bayanihan. Again, we call that bayanihan. So, teachers in the country, I'm going in a blind curve here, so I have to blow my horn. So teachers in our country, especially teachers like me, teaching grade school, always teach these values to the children, telling the children that this is one of the traits or values that we Filipinos are known for, and we should be proud of it. So I just, like I said a while ago, I just met a vehicle here a while back, and the road is narrow. Sorry for that. I'll be cutting some of those dead spaces during post-prod. Now anyway, so we're talking about bayanihan, and we keep on teaching that to children. It's one of our greatest values, that it should be shared around the world, and it's helping each other. Now this pandemic came, and I don't know what happened, but the way the government handled it, especially after a year, is somewhat kind of banged up. I mean, are you seriously kidding me? From the acquiring of vaccine to providing foods to those who are in those community quarantines, it's banged up. Now that's understandable because all of us, I guess, is, or does not, all of us, even in the government, does not have the experience of handling this situation. Now I remember during the time of Senator, I'm not trying to be political here, but it just came out of my mind, so I'll be talking about it. This is a podcast, right? This is all a podcast, so everything that comes to my mind, I'll be talking about it. Now, why don't we don't have the proper or initial response when we are going to initial response of handling pandemic. Now there was a proposed law by the late Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago of such kind law on how to respond in a pandemic like this. Now I don't know what happened to that law. It did not push through. And yeah, we have the protocol instated during the earlier days of this pandemic, but it was not well thought of. It was copied from another country, I guess. Well, from the advanced country. Where can we ever have ideas like those, right? Because we didn't have experience. And it was not well thought of. Now, considering that thing is happening, a citizen in the Philippines, particularly in Quezon City, tried to help by organizing what they call a community pantry. Now, this community pantry is, to those who didn't know, you can just search the internet, it's all over there. It's growing up like a mushroom in the entire Philippines. So it's community pantry is how is that set up? To explain it, it's like a place wherein you collect food. Those who can be able to share food will give that food or whatever things that people need, basic needs. They give it to that community pantry, they place it there, and those who needed food, say for example, can go there and get what they can consume. So it's not hoarding. So in the beginning, a lot of people is a little bit skeptical, saying that one person might hoard all the things there and it's gonna be a disaster. But according to the first organizer, I forgot the name of the lady, people are actually very honest in that community pantry. So community pantry is that I already explained it, and it helps people, right? So the oh my goodness, because I'm a little bit emotional on this topic because it drives me nuts, really. So community pantry is good, right? If you think about it, the objective is good. Now it helps people, especially in the cities. Now in the rural area, like where I am today, scarcity of food is not that big of a problem because people in this community help each other, and the area is wide for farming, so to speak, right? But in cities like Manila, Quezon City, let's just say Metro Manila, there are a lot of people, and every time you move you need money. That community pantry is really helpful. And when it went viral in the internet, so a lot of people from other places also copied it because it's a very good initiative, right? There's nothing wrong about it. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit emotional on this with regards to this issue. So if for you who are listening to this, there's really nothing wrong with this initiative, right? But then yesterday I look at my phone and I saw a news from the Inquirer saying that the initial what do you call that one? Well, the initial organizer, the very first one who organized this one, is being red tagged. Police officers are going around her community asking about her background, asking about what organization that she belongs to. Now, for those who doesn't know, in this country, in the Philippines, there are two political powers here. I'm just trying to explain like that. We have what we are calling here the Communist Party of the Philippines, trying to unseat the democratic government because they believe in communism, just like that. And they operate as the Communist Party of the Philippines create fronts so they can operate within the auspices of the law of the democratic government. Now, that's that is somewhat crazy, that's nuts, but it is how it is. So, police officers are trying to link this organizer of the community pantry to the NPA, or the New People's Army, or the Communist Party of the Philippines. I don't know where they got the idea, but why would you try to... I think that's what we call a textbook mudslinging. If you ask me, it's my opinion, it's a textbook mudslinging. Because they're doing something good for the community, something that the government can't provide. And I can't blame you if you're from the government. I can't blame you if you can't provide the basic needs of the people. But somebody stood up and word by word followed what President of the United States Kennedy said. He thought of things that he can do for the government, he did not complain and ask what the government should do for her. He went out on her way and did things to help the government, and now she's being red tagged. What the hell? That is fucked up. It is. Now, there are a lot of issues connected to this community pantry. One of which, one senator tweeted that when you see this community pantry rising up, like, because it really, when it first came out, it grew out, spread out like a mushroom. Now, one senator tweeted that it shows that the government has failed its people in its mandate to protect them. Something to the effect of that one. And this made me furious because the one who is tweeting that one, most of them, and there are a lot of them, not just one, I think I saw 2 or 3. All of them belong to the government that they are criticizing. That's baloney. So if you're saying that the government has failed you, because they're directing this to the president, then excuse me for a while, I need to open the gate. Alright. So I'm back. So we're talking about that community pantry that is being used for whatever political agenda they have. Now, so this politicians are tweeting that the government, and they're pointing it to their leader, the president, has failed its people in protecting them. And oh my goodness, it is, I don't know, you can never have, I can think of a word to describe them that will not make me curse a lot. You know, some of my students might be watching this, might say that their teacher cursed a lot, but it's bullshit. You know, they are from the government, they are part of the government, they are the government, and they're criticizing it, saying they didn't do enough. Well, they're right, but they didn't even, you know, they didn't do anything to help the people. And then they use this community pantry to advance their political agenda. That's clear as day. You can just take a look at it, and it's clear as day. That is the purpose. Now, why am I talking about this on my podcast? And this might be one of the shortest solo podcasts I'd be doing on my entire podcast program. Now, I want to talk about this because how will you ever teach children of this great Filipino value when you see the real world and doing good thing will still be a bad thing? And one more thing I forgot, that the local, it's like the department that is in charge of the local government, I don't know where, but I saw it in a tweet that they were contemplating of asking for permit. So say for example, I want to create a community pantry in my community, I have to secure a permit from the government. That is again one of the fucked up things that's happening right now. I don't know what's worse, the thinking of these people or this pandemic, this COVID. I don't know. You know, Now, going back to the reason why I want to talk about this on my podcast is that as a teacher, I don't know what to teach anymore. Are we going to teach children that this is one of our... Look at this scenario. You are teaching the children this is one of the greatest values of Filipinos. But if you're going to do it, you'll be red tagged. You'll be called a member of a communist party, and you'd be given hard time to do it. For the first time in the pandemic, this is the first time that I saw Filipino people, us, doing what the government can do for them. Doing what they can do to help the government. And then it ends up like this. Government, doing things to disappoint them. Actually, reading the newspaper yesterday, the very first community pantry that was opened by this lady, and may God bless her, I'm sorry. I did not intend to misgender you. She closed her pantry yesterday because she's scared when she heard the news that she is being investigated. That is fucked up. You know? We try to teach children that in times like this, the best way to cope up, the best way to defeat this pandemic is to help each other. And now that it's happening and taking the social media by storm, making it, don't get me wrong, I voted for the president. I think he has some good intentions, but I don't know what's happening right now. You know, and when this citizens initiative took the popularity of the president out, something like that. Maybe it scared the government. I don't know. I'm just contemplating on what's happening here. Since the intelligence community has the largest budget, and now it's being used to harass. I call that harassment. I define that as harassment. Why would you do that to someone who's trying to help? This is insane. So to whoever is listening right now, that's what's happening here in the Philippines for this week of April. Today is April 20. And if you listen to this after this day, this is what happened. And I hope this thing will solve itself, because I don't believe the government will solve it, this problem, this issue. I hope it will solve itself, and I hope everything is good for the lady.